to share a story first off to get you on the topic that I want to dive into today. There was a man who lived with his wife here in Lyons, and he looked around at all the neighboring houses and he said, if only I could have a house just like that, then I would be content. I would be happy beyond happy, if only. So he decided to put his house up for sale. I'm thinking the wife wasn't too happy about that because if any of you are like me at all, you hate moving. But anyway, he put the house up for sale, put it on the market. And he began to look for other homes in Lyons that would be just so wonderful that he would be finally happy with what he had. So he went to the computer and the internet, because that's where we all go these days for information, right? And he went to Zillow and he started looking through the listings here in Lyons. And he's looking, and he's looking, and he's looking, until he found just the home he wanted. He looked at all the descriptions, and everything he could ever ask for in a house was in this house. It had a whirlpool tub. It had a walk-in shower. It had a dishwasher for his wife. It had a microwave. It had 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms. It had everything he could possibly want. He was so excited. So he called his real estate agent up and said, hey, I found just the house I want. Can you tell me more about it? And so the agent said, well, describe what you're seeing on the internet. What is this house like and where is it located? And so he started to describe all these wonderful things about this house and all the things that were in it. And finally, the real estate agent said, well, let me go check. Went and checked and came back and said, sir, that's your very own house. You're describing. Why is it that we always can look outside at somebody else and go, oh, I wish I had what she has. I wish I had what he has. Then I would be happy and content. That seems to be our society, especially for some of our younger generations who have this thing in their pockets, right? You know what I'm talking about? And I recently had to get a new one of these cell phones and went to Verizon and said, well, my phone's dying. I need a new phone because I'm taking youth this summer to a youth conference and it's important. I be in contact with parents. Okay, he says, he looks at my phone and he goes, wow, this is an old phone. I said, you really don't think it's that old? I don't think I bought it that long ago, but it really is shot. I'm using it more and more and more. And he said, I said, well, you can look on Verizon and find out when I bought this phone, right? Yeah? So he looks on the phone and discovers that I bought it 2 years ago. He said, wow, you had it for 2 whole years? And I said, wow, I didn't have it very long. Technology changes, and our world today is such that we all, well, not we all, some of us in our society feel like we have to keep up with the changes in technology pretty rapidly. And they change pretty rapidly. You buy a computer, and I'm telling you, by the time you get it home, it's already updated. They've already come up with something new and different. So all of this is to say, what is it about our society, what is it about ourselves, that we have a hard time being content with what we have? Paul is talking to Timothy, a young pastor, probably 20-something, and he's saying, Timothy, be content, because your wealth doesn't lie in what you have. We came into this world with nothing, and we go out of this world with nothing. So why worry about stuff? Focus instead on being closer to God. And teach that to the people in Ephesus who are so materialistic and are on things. And when they focus on things, they get busier and busier and busier. Sounding familiar? Because you buy something and it breaks. And then what do you have to do? Go get it fixed or buy a new one. And in order to pay for that, you have to work or rely on your income to pay for that. And if you don't have enough, you have to work harder, maybe more jobs. It's a vicious cycle. And the minute you get into that vicious cycle, what happens to your spirituality and your connection with God? Dissipates, right? You can't focus. Because it is a vicious cycle. It is a vicious, vicious cycle. And our world has gotten ourselves caught into that rampantly. Out there. Maybe in here, I don't know. You'll have to decide that for yourself. But Paul is saying, okay, let's focus. What happens? What do you give up when you do not focus on God? You give up a relationship with God. You give up trusting and watching for God to provide for you, for your needs, not all your wants, right, but your needs. You give up peace. You give up quiet time. You give up so much. Timothy, teach people to focus on God and their relationship with God. And all those other things will fall into place. I can attest to that with my own life. All those things do fall into place. If you're wrapped up in that whirligig of trying to work and work and work and work and get ahead of the neighbors and keep up with the Joneses and all that good stuff, it may seem like it doesn't all work out. But let me ask you, has anyone in this room really been hungry? Has anyone in this room really done without a house over there, a roof over their heads at night? Has anyone in this room, you might be driving a dilapidated car, but has anyone in this room gone without a car if they didn't have one, if they really wanted one? Most of us can say no to those questions because God provides. Sometimes we have to wait to the end moment, but God provides. Today we're going to be celebrating World Communion Sunday. And if we were to think about people in other parts of our world, like perhaps India, perhaps Africa, perhaps part of, I'm going to date myself, part of Russia, are their lives even as good as the poorest people in our country? For a lot of them, the answer is no. The poorest of the poor here in this country are rich by the standards of those who live in some of those other places. And we're here, and we think if we don't have $100 in our pocket, we're poor. We can't afford. We can't afford. We can't afford. But $100 goes a long way. My niece is in Laos, and she can take $100 and she can pay rent for 2 months for a house. She can go out, eat out every day, 3 times a day, for days and days and days for $100 because it costs like $2 a meal. $100 can go far. And if you are one of the poorest of poor in our country and you were given $100, what would that feel like to you? Might be able to go buy a cup of coffee at McDonald's today and have a hamburger. And that would be a huge treat. Be satisfied. Be content. Focus on God. Focus on Jesus Christ. Focus on what God is calling you to do. Focus on what God is calling you to share. Focus on God. You get it? There's sort of a theme here. You get the idea? Focus on who? God. Not on yourself. Our downfall in our country is that we focus, a lot of people, not all of us, generalizations getting in trouble, focus on us. Our needs, but mostly our wants, our desires, our dreams. We grew up with the American dream, did we not? We live in America. It's possible if we work hard. We can attain anything we want to attain, right? But if that means leaving God out of the equation, we lose a lot, guys. An awful lot. So I'm going to end this part of the service by saying, focus on God. Pay attention to what God is doing in your life this week. It might be something really small. It might be just somebody going, "Hi, how are you?" It might be smiling at somebody in Walmart and they smile back at you. It might be that if you are in desperate need of finances, you get a check in the mail that you didn't expect. It might be somebody calls you unexpectedly and says, "How are you doing?" But God is working in your life in the small things, not necessarily the big things, and God will provide for all your needs. So be content with what you have. You notice that I do not wear one of those things that measures the walking thing? Everybody else has them. Do you all have them? Oh no, you're journeying my walk. There they are. I knew somebody would have those Fitbits or whatever they're called back there. If you can't afford it, it's okay not to have one. It's okay to go by the time that you walk or exercise and not go to the... I had somebody I talked to yesterday that said, "I forgot my Fitbit and I went out and I walked 3,000 steps and now I've got to walk an extra 3,000 steps or it won't be recorded on my Fitbit for today." I'm like, what are you talking about? How does that help you focus on your spiritual relationship with God? And yet that's what we focus on, right? I focus on things like that too. So don't hear me say I'm more righteous than you are, because I am not. I focus on, can I pay my bills? If I can't pay my bills, maybe I better go get a job with the Seneca County Board of Elections, which is what I did a few years ago. Ready to quit that job, because I'm content to be not running all the time. You get my point. Whatever God is calling you to do, pay attention and do it. Because even if it means you sacrificing time, your gifts and talents, or some of your money or possessions, God will provide you with all that you need. I guarantee it. Think about it.